First section in geometry, chapter 1, is understanding lines, planes, and points. Okay. First thing we have to know is that in geometry we have things called undefined terms. And these terms can't be defined by other figures. That's what they mean. So they're the very basics of geometry. The first thing that we have here is a point. So there's my point. We use it to describe a location. It has no size, and we use a capital letter, okay, like that. So this would be point A. Alright, so after that we have a line. Alright, so I'm going to form a line here, put my point. I'm going to label the point, point B, and now in between these we have a line. Now we need to use the arrows to represent that the line extends on and on forever. Okay? So a line has no thickness, it's straight, and it extends on and on forever. We use a lowercase letter in order to label the line. Okay, so this would be line J. Or we could say this is line AB using the 2 points. Or we could say line BA. Either way, it doesn't matter because it extends on forever in opposite directions. Okay, now with points, if we have points that are all in a line, like so. So I have point A, I have point B, and I have these 2 points in between. We say that all 4 of these points are collinear because they lie on the same line, line AB or line J. So A, C, D, and B are collinear. Now if we had a point that was out here, label the point, display, label point, point E. E would not be linear or collinear, excuse me, with A, C, D, or B because it doesn't lie in the same line as the other 4 do. So E would be non-collinear. Now, moving on. The third undefined term is a plane. Okay, so now we have our plane. A plane has no thickness. It's a flat surface that extends on forever. Now, obviously we can see borders here, but you have to use your imagination here and think that this thing extends on forever across this flat surface. Now, we would label this plane, let's just say plane J. We use a cursive capital letter in order to distinguish that it is a plane. Or we have points inside of it that are non-collinear, so therefore these 3 points inside do not form a straight line. So display, label points. So this would either be plane J, or we could say plane FGH, or plane HGF. The order doesn't matter. Now, G, H, and F are what we call coplanar because all 3 of these points are located inside the plane. To represent a point that is not inside the plane, we'd simply label a point outside. So, display, label point, point I. So point I, delete this extra point, delete. Point I would not be in the same plane as G, H, or F. For that matter, if we consider this whole entire figure here, these shapes, this line, these points, and this plane, G, H, and F would be the only points inside the plane where I, E, and line J here would be outside of the plane. Okay, so those are our three undefined figures: a point, a line, and a plane. All right, moving on, I'm going to delete this. Next, we have a segment, or a line segment, as such here. Display, label segment. So this would be segment K, okay? Or I could label the points here on the end. These are endpoints. Display, label points. Okay. We have points J and K. This would be line segment JK or line segment KJ. All right. And a line segment are the points, the two endpoints, and all the points in between lined up in a row. You could also have points that are collinear on a line segment. So if I put this point on that line, display, label point, okay, point L would be collinear with JK. Even though it's a line segment, you can still have it be collinear. Now, J and K are what we call endpoints, okay, because they are the end of the segment or the end of a ray. So, a ray, all right, or it's basically part of a line, and it has an endpoint. So, point, extend out. Label these points, construct, label points, okay. And I use my arrow to distinguish a ray. So we call this array because it has an originating point, this endpoint M, and it goes on forever towards point N. The arrow means it extends on forever that way. So this would be ray MN. You cannot say ray NM because N is not the starting point. With a ray, you always have to start with the endpoint. So this would be ray MN. Now, an opposite ray, okay, that is two rays with a common endpoint, and they form a line. So, let's do this. I'm going to draw here. I'm going to put a point in the middle here. Label the points. Label points. Okay. So I have ray OQ. That's one ray going to the right. And then I have ray OP going to the left. These are opposite rays. Ray OP, or ray OQ and ray OP. They form a line. Their common endpoint would be O here. So I have a segment, endpoints, ray. Those are the three things that we went over. All right. Moving on. Take this. Delete these terms. So those are the terms that we went over.